Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhoads on the Buy Here Pay Here Morning Show. Take it away, you two.
Friday, coming to you live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and
all the favorite Facebook locations. Yeah. We're going to be pretty quick today.
Yep.
We are heading to the airport to pick up our CEO who's flying in for the day to do some planning for White Hat Way and all things that we're moving forward with.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to seeing him.
So keep it brief.
Yeah. You remember when we were at NIADA the day after, we were in a parking lot about ready to go into a meeting, and we did the podcast from our car. Well, Jerry is our interim CEO and fantastic person. So we have meetings with him today. Super excited about it.
Yeah, it should be a good productive day. So we just want to jump into our stuff. A couple quick announcements. Don't forget, we got the Marietta Conference starts on the 24th in Atlantic City, and then the
LHPH Summit
is
12th, 13th, and 14th of October.
And I just saw the announcement on Facebook that Bill Elizondo and others announced that they were doing an extra day. It's not like on the backside of that for folks who are looking to get in LHPH 20 groups.
Yeah,
so
which is So Bill does one specifically for LHPH as well. So okay, so.
Shall we?
Yeah, Jim did a survey yesterday, and we got a lot of responses and realized that there's probably a bit that we can unpack from what it was that we saw. And again, This is something that kind of surprised Jim.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the counts. We can just jump right into you want to show the slide up? I'll give you the language on the poll and show you what it looked like in Facebook. I know that's probably going to be a little difficult to read, but basically just wanted to have it up there so I can share with you what the actual language was. It's a recon question. It says, not counting body work, how much of what you can identify do you actually repair when reconditioning newly acquired inventory? This would be an overall average. And then I put note 100% would be every single thing you find, including maintenance such as belts, hoses, filters, tires, brake pads, etc. And the results that came in, first of all, we had pretty good, response rate. We had over 70 responses, and I'll show you the chart that came as a result.
And this was in success, right?
Correct.
Okay, so in Buy Here Pay Here Success, this is kind of how it played out.
Right. So any that are listening that are not a member, that's a private Facebook group specifically for Buy Here Pay Here. And so BHPH Success, if you're not in there, you might want to jump over there and get yourself added in there, because this one only went inside that group. And I think the results on the screen, I chose to do in green, both the 75% and above, and then 100%. And you can see that
a little bit darker.
Yeah, that darker green. So the 30% of the respondents, so 21 out of, I think it was 70 or 71 responses, that 21 said that they go 100%. They recondition basically everything, including all that stuff I listed, belts, hoses, if they read the question.
Brake pads, all the stuff.
Yeah, and so I think that's really interesting. That's something I look forward to digging into. And so in the coming weeks, we will have to bring some experts and ask the questions of dealers and, service advisors and whatever else. But the other category was 75 to 100%, 54% of the respondents answered that way, saying they do almost everything.
Almost everything. I mean, not 100%, but they're within that range of 75 plus.
Yeah. And then that blue section there was 50 to 75%, and that came in at 15%. But if you look at really the entire, all but, just a few said they do at least 50% of the recon. And so it's interesting to me, at a time when our cost of car is higher, we've been spending more for cars, that dealers are still choosing to go that far in terms of recon. And so I look forward to breaking that down in the coming weeks. For today, we don't have time to go into it, and we don't frankly have enough information. I mean, we're going to want to hear this directly from dealers about how and why they make those choices.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it's, we've visited different dealers that they will even do whatever, repairs to leather seats. And I mean, just, it's like really going deep into when this car leaves the lot, that it is probably one of, I think the intent is it's one of the cleanest used cars that you could find.
Yeah, and so our friend Tyler Simmons in West Texas chimed in the comments and said, this one's kind of tricky because you have cosmetic things, you have drivability things, functionality, and that's all very true. I would just ask it as an overall, how far do we go? And I think it's interesting. Cosmetic is interesting. I think the one that's always been problematic for me, a couple things that I remember having difficulty with as a dealer myself in making those decisions. One's oil leaks. Like how bad can an oil
Used
leak
cars
be?
a lot of times
Gonna have
do,
some
and
seepage.
that can be a pretty expensive repair.
It can be, depends on which seals they're bad. I mean, it can be very expensive. And then the other piece of that would be, and I didn't ask the question, I look forward to coming back and asking a follow-up question on this, because I think this is something that'll be really helpful to a lot of dealers out there who can, better, make these kind of judgments. But another one for me was suspension. Like it's hard. We just went through this with your mother's car. Like you ran your mother's car to the shop.
Yeah.
Got a super expensive quote.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 2012 Nissan Altima, I think. Right. And, Dad's gone. So that's kind of falls on us. And we took it in just to have him do a really great shop, great customer service. It's a whole nother show. But they did the whole thing and saw that one of her axles needs to be replaced.
Well, both front axles, no popping. I mean, I drove the car myself. There's no popping. It just said both. Front boots are bad.
The car, and the suspension and shocks, and
shocks
just those two things were almost $3,000.
Well, when you say those two things, you're basically redoing the whole. Yeah. And this one, now you don't get into things like rocker arms, stabilizer.
Well,
there's a ton of stuff into there.
But then it's like the thing we had to ask ourselves is, all right, if we were to sell this, how much could we get for it, even with those things fixed?
Yeah, how much are you going to recover? And that's why I told them I can promise you're not going to recover the money that you put into this. So it's kind of an aside here. I think for dealers who are obviously making this recon decision with the expectation the customer's going to be in it for, 3+ years, then obviously that's a factor. And some dealers will make this judgment based on, their own support solutions, et cetera.
So Voight Jackson Jr., welcome. I don't think that we've seen you on the show before. If you are doing reinsurance, you fix it now or you fix it later.
Yeah, that's very true. I think the question for me becomes how far,
does reinsurance cover things like new windshield wipers?
No, that'd be maintenance. Okay, and even if it did, it would be within a deductible. A reinsurance product is going to have some sort of deductible warranty or service contract, either one. So it doesn't really solve that part. So for me, the more interesting piece of this is just pick one, brake pads. How you make the judgment, because every used car on the road's got worn brake pads. It's like, how far do they have to be worn before you justify replacing them? Tires, and you go on and on and on. Like, I think this is, when I see that list, I think, and I feel like I phrased the question specifically enough.
Yeah.
So I hope people were, able to make sense of what I was asking. But let's just bring some dealers in the coming weeks. Let's bring some dealers to this conversation, and let's dig into this and find out how do you make that judgment? Because I think there are a lot of new dealers out there struggling with this and figuring out, like, again, how do you make that decision? Somebody's obviously got to get in the car and do a real thorough analysis, and then why do you choose to go that far?
That's the big thing that I think that is it because our customers won't buy the car if we don't, or is it? I mean, we've talked to some dealers where it's done because it makes them feel better, the dealer feel better. Yeah. So which one is it? Because one of the things that we talked about extensively, Jim and I, and as we've seen different dealers, is that a lot of customers don't care if there's a ding, like there's a ding in the side panel.
Yeah.
Don't care at all. So should we go through the effort of fixing that? Cause it's, it's like, and cause that's it makes it look prettier, but it doesn't make it function any better.
And I think a lot of that would be decided based on business model.
True.
But what that chart tells me is that a lot of dealers have a similar business model, or at least a similar approach to collections or to recon, which I think would tie back to the business model. And so, let's dig into it. Like I said, for today, it was just about sharing the results.
It was interesting. I mean, it was interesting. That there's, and it would be, I think, a great show to talk to some people that say 100% and then find out why.
Yeah.
Why and what 100. Here's the other thing is what does 100% mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there could be a lot of, or like 75. What does it mean to you? To say 100%, because that could be, oh no, we're not going to replace that.
Sure. Yeah.
So
we'll I'm going to enjoy breaking that down.
Yeah.
But I think for today we better wrap up and get to the airport.
We have to get to the airport.
Yeah. Yay. So we're glad to check in today. Hope
we are committed to being here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Every once in a while, get it recorded, and we toyed around with recording last night. But last night I had a house full of people that were here to help get some wedding decorations for our daughter's wedding. Our daughter.
Went live.
So we were like, we didn't have time to pre-record anything.
Yeah, there wasn't an opportunity.
It's
all good. We're here. But we're off today. We'll see you again on Monday.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey guys, everybody have such a fantastic weekend. It's still, in most places in the country, it is still very nice out.
Yep.
And these are my favorite. This is my favorite time of the year, when it's still green and things are starting to change. You're getting a little bit of a nip. It starts to smell different. Mm-hmm. So if you get an opportunity,
pull some grapes off of the
get out there and enjoy this fall weather.
Yep.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you on Monday.